My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now. Hey, I'm Cramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Cramerica. I'll be one of my friends. I'm just trying to make you a little money. My job, not just to entertain you, but to educate, teach you. So call me at 1-800-743-CBC or tweet me at Jim Cramer. The worst part of earnings season isn't when I have to cover a zillion major companies reporting at the same time. It's when I see all the people who sell when they should be buying. The goofuses, the quick draws, who never seem to miss a chance to shoot themselves in the foot. I'm talking about the initial reaction to Fed Chief Jay Powell's comments after the Fed raised interest rates by 0.25% today. I was listening to everything. I do my job, and I saw that the market was plummeting. I mean, just when he was talking, it was just getting crushed. And it was insane. It was an insanely stupid reaction because everything Powell said in his press conference was positive. And that's why the averages bounced back, with the Dow finishing up just 7 points. The mighty Dow not so mighty today. S&P jumping 1.05%, but the go-go NASDAQ surging 2%. Now, but it's crazy that stocks ever sold off in the first place. Think about what Powell said if you got to listen to it. I'll just tell you. He said Fed rate hikes have been successful. They're good. They're getting disinflation going. Not slowing of inflation, but disinflation. But there's more work to do. No kidding. We're further along than we were last month. Sure. There's disinflation in goods. You sound downright happy about that. But there's still some things like services that haven't gone down enough. All common sense. And in the end, what happened today? Well, people realized the Fed's getting the work done, as Powell said he would. But he still wants to make sure inflation comes back to 2% before he'll ease up with the quarter points. He wants a soft landing. And he wants disinflation. And he's getting it. And those clowns came in and sold on all that good news? Stupidity? Lunacy? I don't know. But let's go back to what I've been saying for a while now. We're in a bull market. It started last fall when long-term interest rates peaked, along with the dollar peaking. Now many stocks have clearly bottomed, even tech. But like I keep telling you, whenever you see a sudden short-term move, one like we saw today, unless there's a real good reason to explain the decline, then it is a buying opportunity. Because in a bull market, the bias is to go higher. But you get those short shop declines. And you gotta just say to yourself, let's go to work. Today, the Fed gave you another chance to get in. Powell gave us so much confidence in what we've seen with our own eyes. Some prices aren't just stabilizing, they are actually decelerating. We got actual disinflation in some places. Things are going lower in some places. Powell used the term disinflation many times. I follow him closely on these numbskulls of quick draws, these McGraw, whatever they're doing, these guys who are just selling today, blasting out. It's clear to me that Powell thinks we're finally getting inflation rollbacks. He said that goods inflation is coming down very fast. We talk about that every night on the show. Still, there are some services where prices aren't being rolled back fast enough. Services related to higher wages. So Powell needs to see employment get weaker. Of course, he never says that point blank. No Fed chairman's ever going to come out here and say, look, we need more firings, more layoffs, fewer jobs created, more people are thrown out of work. We need people to make less money. We need your portfolio to go down. We need everything to be like the enterprise software industry with these endless layoffs. No Fed chief is going to give these bears that, okay? He's not going to convert you to a bull by saying that stuff, because that's not his job. 40 years ago, we had a Fed chief who was more upfront about bringing the pain, and he needed Secret Service protection thanks to all the death threats. Powell's too smart for that, and that's just not the way he thinks. Sure, it'd be easier to own stocks if he'd stop tightening immediately, but that's not his job. The Fed exists to strike a balance between price stability and employment. Powell's not concerned with how much money he can make for you. He's on a mission to prevent the value of your portfolio from being devoured by inflation over the long haul. He wants to make sure your hard-earned savings are going to be worth something in 2030 or 2040. So how come all these traders merely jumped to sell stocks in response to Powell's encouraging press conference? Simple. A huge percentage of traders, they are living in the past. Everybody's always fighting the last war. If it were still 2022, they'd be right to sell the market on pretty much anything. You know, sell the rips. Remember those guys you said, sell the rips? These guys spent all last year getting burned every time they tried to be bullish. So they don't want to repeat that mistake because they don't believe things have gotten better. They're still convinced that we are in a bear market. Others don't want to touch stocks until Powell gives us an all clear, explicit saying, hey, we're good. So others say the system's wrong or rigged or Powell's wrong or whatever. All three of these camps were on display the moment that Powell started talking today, before he even finished a sentence. Did they wait until he mentioned deflation over and over again? No. They thought that they knew the result of what he was going to say, and they were in a bear market. In the end, the market's going to go lower, so you might as well run in front of all the other people who are going to sell. The funny thing is that for most of last year, that was the right attitude. Before long rates peaked and the dollar peaked, selling stocks on any news was always the right call. But it's no longer the right call. It no longer makes sense once the Fed says the rate hikes are working and we're pretty far along in the tightening cycle, even as they are still seeing some wage inflation. I'm so focused on these bozos because their mistaken selling creates opportunities for you to buy the dips. You need to have conviction that the sellers are wrong and you're right. You need to believe in your view, not the view that taped gives you, that the bears give you, that the people on TV who tell you it's no good give you. You don't get these gains very often. They're very difficult to come by. The ones like we're having today. Of course, you can look at what's down and buy it, betting that the bull will soon graze their end of the market. It might happen. All I'm concerned about, and all I keep telling you, and I tell the investment club members at the morning meeting and in the home stretch in the afternoon, is that there are so many good stocks and good sectors that you need to be in. For example, for almost a year, the semiconductors have been horrendous. But this morning, Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, said that after a lot of pain caused by excess inventory, the glut is coming to an end. That triggered voracious buying, both in AMD and also competitor NVIDIA. And this is what happens at the end of a very long downturn. More on that later. Now you can get a bottom in PCs, you can get more demand in data centers. Business will get better. Like so many industries that did poorly when COVID ended, the semiconductors are turning. Earnings are troughing, not peaking as the bears claim. And that means higher, not lower stock prices, no matter what the talking heads say. They scare me, and I'm confident. Oh, and speaking of the hazards of being too negative, another stock we own for the Chopper Trust, Meta, like old Facebook, it exploded higher tonight because it saw a reacceleration of core Facebook at the same time that it cut costs, laid off 11,000 employees, and plans to dramatically lower expenses for 2023. Gorham were fears that Meta was taking some huge gamble. Gorham was the idea that Zuckerberg was betting a farm on something that's like this with cartoon figures. Back with the users of core Facebook, which showed very good growth for the first time in ages. I feel very encouraged by Reels, too. Very good quarter. No, and the negatives missed it by a mile. Hell, by the way, they left 30 points on the table. Bottom line, you just need to know what kind of market you're in. A bull market, and know that those who keep fighting the bulls they did today think they're in a bear market, and they get trampled. Today was a real trampling. And the bears, they still don't know what hits them. How about Zach in Minnesota? Zach!
Hey, Mr. Cramer. I was doing some homework on Textron, and when looking at the charts, I believe I noticed a head and shoulders technical pattern that began back in November. Now, the price has gone up so much since the 20th of last month that I believe it broke the right shoulder of that pattern, which, if I'm not mistaken, should signal a new bullish trend. Now, the company just beat earnings and gave a positive outlook for 23. So, are you seeing what I'm seeing, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, the stock is very inexpensive. Second, you're absolutely right. It did break the pattern, the negative pattern. I'll tell you what I like about Textron. It's got some military, it's got some aviation. I mean, it is kind of a little bit of a pastiche, if not a mosaic of businesses, but they are related to the military. And I think the people who are against the defense stocks are dead wrong. And you, my friend, and it makes me remind me, Zach, 5 years ago when the Eagles won in Minnesota, you are sitting pretty on that one. Hey, speaking of the Eagles, let's go to Scott in Pennsylvania. Scott.
Jim, booyah!
Booyah!
Longtime fan. Right to the point.
Do I detect the Philadelphia accent? Trying. What's going on?
Interested in CVS Health. Why is this stock struggling in the mid-80s when it really should be doing better?
Okay, I have a theory. It's two sides. One is that it made so much money in COVID that's now lapping that. People think, oh, that's not so good. But second, labor. Labor's hard to find. Hey, by the way, I went to Walgreens today. Get this, you'll love this. I rang the buzzer, and someone came and opened it up. Wow! All right, anyway, you just need to know what kind of market you're in. It's a bull market. And those who keep fighting the bull, well, they get trampled. Today was a real trampler. Bears still don't know what hit them. Oh, I got to do this again. Hey, on Mad Money tonight, what do we got? Oh, Thermo Fisher jumped higher today after earnings. Oh, what drove the strength of that one? I'm getting to the heart of the story with the CEO. Then going up, I'm seeing exactly what's making Otis do so well. And Brinker International, yes, symbol E, kind of like Maggiano and some of your favorites over there, the Chili's. It just had a great quarter. How did Wall Street digest it? And I got to tell you something. I was right about the metaverse. It doesn't matter that much. Stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.